I have some extra time today because PDX Scanner did most of yesterday's calls. And so I can do some more of this torturous board meeting where they disingenuously try to convince us that if they don't raise the fares, we're all going to die and life will be over as we know it. And we know it's a lie, but we're subjected to it anyway. And I'll go back to my hero, George Carlin, who said, I have certain rules I live by, but my first rule, I don't believe anything the government tells me. And that includes TriMet and everything else they've been saying to us for the last who knows how many years. I mean, I've lost count. It's just been one giant lie after lie after lie after lie. It's just unbelievable what we Americans are subjected to. And what's even more unbelievable is how many Americans believe the phony propaganda. It just shocks me. I'm just shocked. I can't even begin to describe to you how I feel today in the last few years watching the entire world change before my eyes and knowing that it's never going to be what it was. And it's over for the human race. It's over for all of us. I mean, and I'm already getting older and I don't care anymore about it because I'm done anyway, but it's just a horrible to have to witness this stuff. Now, before we do that, let's talk about a few things here that have come up. Okay, my buddy Eli, who many of you know, who is also widely misunderstood in Portland circles as being like a Proud Boy, which is completely false. But he became well known somehow in all of the insanity in Portland. He's been put into that box. But he's about the most opposite thing from a Proud Boy. Yes, he's talked to Proud Boys. So what? I mean, people talk. People talk to each other. Okay, if you get to the point where you can't even talk to the other side, you're done. You're done. It's done. If you get to the point where you won't even talk to the other side of the political spectrum, and I've always said, I have a lot of people telling me I shouldn't be following people that I follow, and I'm like incredulous. It's like, why? I mean, these are human beings with an opinion. You can't just say they don't exist because they do exist. So you can't just block them out. Anyway, he had an interesting event on the TriMet, and let's go through it. We'll start with this. So actually, there was a this is the second video. There's another video. You can watch all this on my blog if you want. But he was on the max, and a fare inspector told him he was excluded. Okay, and he's never been excluded, ever. To get excluded, you need paperwork. So anyway, this is after the original incident of him getting kicked off, being threatened with arrest. He's approaching these two fare inspectors, and look at how they handle this situation.
You guys have some paperwork for me? You guys have some paperwork for me? Showing that I've been excluded by TriMet property?
You know, Eli, you're recording us, and I'm not going to talk to you when you're recording. You have to contact TriMet's PIO. All right?
Did you hear what he just said? Him, a government official with the ability to cite citizens, he can cite you for court appearances. He can fine you, this guy. And he just told Eli, I will not talk to you if you're recording. That's a violation of the Oregon State Constitution and a violation of the American Constitution. He's a government employee in public doing his job. You can record them all day. He just told him to call Roberta Allstat. Can you believe that? He actually told him to call Roberta Allstat. So here we have an incompetent and fair inspector along with his buddy who told Eli he's excluded, will not produce the paperwork for him, and he will not talk to him if he films them. Well, you have to film the police. The fair Nazis are the equivalent of the police because they have the ability to cite you. They might not have the ability to arrest you, but they have the ability to cite you. That makes them on the same level as police in terms of government officials and citizens' rights to film them.
So the word is that I've been excluded. You're also being witnessed. There's also a witness here, so you don't want to talk to me.
So they're just going to walk away from him. They won't talk to him, which is like the worst example of a totalitarian, unaccountable government agency you can have. And I explained to Eli that when it comes to TriMet, they are actually the most unaccountable government agency in Oregon. They don't have any, there's no way a citizen can influence decisions or practices of the TriMet. It's a very totalitarian agency. Okay, and it operates brutally. It's brutal. And if you listen to the calls like I have, you can see the brutality that's meted out to the citizens by this place. This is a very brutal agency. It treats people badly, generally speaking. It also treats its drivers badly too. Okay, it's not just the riders that are getting shit on. The drivers get shit on too.
Well, I'm recording you, but I've been excluded. Yeah, I know. So can I ride the train or no? Yes or no? Can I ride the train? I'm going to get on the train. I'm going to get on the train. I'm going to get on the train if you say yes or no. All right, fine. I'll talk to the PIO, and I'll take this as no, I'm not excluded.
And there they go. They just ride away. God, I love Eli, man. He is so good. Now, okay, so there's your bad fair inspector, okay? The ruthless tyrant that does what he wants. And then Eli does run into this, to these folks. Okay. He's up at the Rose.
You guys have some paperwork for me? I was told that I was, excluded from TriMet. Can you tell me more about that? This is news to me.
I will check for you.
Thank you.
Now
maybe you can give me a date and time and when it went into.
You see how he look at this fair inspector here.
Effect, that'll be fantastic.
He goes, let me check for you. Very calm. Did not, no reaction, just professional, doing his job in the public eye. And just watch.
No, I never got anything. And like every time I interact with TriMet, I record it.
No worries.
See?
Well, for me, no worries for me. But if you guys are entering false information about me into the system, just because I film you.
I can tell you there's no exclusion for filming.
See, he knows. This guy knows that you can film. He knows that you can film TriMet people. You don't have to talk to the PIO.
I live within your rights, so I don't recommend it. No, I currently do not have any exclusions for you, sir. If somebody did not give you paperwork, which is legally required to do, then the chances are it was not an actual exclusion, whatever they did.
All right, did you hear that? So that fair inspector, in a very calm, de-escalating manner, very respectful manner, didn't flinch at all at the camera, or didn't flinch at all that Eli was upset, told him very professionally that he was not excluded and that you can't be excluded without the paperwork. Now, the reason I bring this up is because you have this is the quintessential example of how TriMet functions. You have people that are horrible at their jobs, and you have people that are excellent at their jobs. And this applies throughout the entire place. This is how it was when I was there, even. Okay, you had horrible and you had great. So there's no consistency in the people that are employed over there. And here you saw one example of horrible fare inspectors, and one of them actually, the one that threw him off the train. I mean, I can show you that video. Let me see here. All right, here it is. Come on, play. Okay, now this is interesting because he spots Eli. See, he spots him.
Get to Eli Rich, you right? Hey, so you know you're excluded, right?
He just lied. He just lied to Eli. You know you're excluded, right? He just bold-faced lied.
65, you'll be clear that SOP and Peter typical 81.
So this will be your last stop.
65, yeah,
Come on, Eli. So you know if police come, you go to jail for trespassing, correct? Eli?
He's lying to him. He lied. He just lied to him.
Hey, I just want to let you know that they've told me that I've been excluded.
All right. Okay, we just heard that he lied. So he threatened him with arrest based on a false lie. Now that's actually a violation of civil rights there, and there should be discipline, but we know there won't be because we know how government operates. There's no accountability. So they made him get off that train for nothing. We already saw that the other inspector looked it up and he lied. And so what do? I don't know what to do. I mean, I talked to Eli about it. I said, I sued them, okay, over labor law violations, okay? They're violating ours being the drivers. They were violating our rights to get paid to get to the relief point. Somehow our beloved union allowed TriMet to negotiate a contract where they would rip us off to get to the relief. So if it took you a half hour to get to your relief point, which is required to work, they would pay you like $2 instead of half your, you should be being paid straight time. So I sued them based on the fair labor standards. And we settled. We didn't win. We settled with them. And I explained to him that suing TriMet it's not something that you can do, basically. It's not, they have unlimited money to fight you, okay? And they will. And they're not accountable to anybody. So anyway, he got it straightened out. He turned out to be right? There is no exclusion. We did find a good fair inspector who knows how to do his job, who knew how to do the thing properly, who knew how to treat the public. And so kudos on TriMet for having at least some of the Nazis being decent people, at least willing to listen. All right, now let's get back to this abomination. See how long I can take it before I kill it.
The orange line opened. The FX division line opened.
Oh yeah,
the extension.
she's talking about all the great accomplishments of TriMet. That's right. That's what made me pull my hair out. Oh wait, but before we go on to that, I have one more thing to show you. Yes. Okay, I got it all. I keep track of all this stuff. All right, look at this. LA Metro won't raise fares following public pushback. Their fare is $1.75, and due to overwhelming backlash, they will not raise fares. So their fare is $1.75, but TriMet's is $2.50, and they're whining that somehow they're going to go out. So they're lying to us. I'm just trying to make that clear that they're lying with a straight face. They've prepared in advance their lies. They're spewing them to us. And we know they're lying. Now, can we do anything about it? I don't know. I mean, is Opal, down in LA, they have a very strong riders union. Okay. Portland is kind of this weirdo. It's like this bizarre city where it's not really it's certainly not progressive. It builds itself as progressive, but Portland is a regressive city. It's the complete opposite of what they'll have you believe. It's regressive. It's kind of this combination. It's like the split in America there. There's like the Trump versus the, I don't know, Marxist. I don't know what to say actually. It's not a cohesive city when it comes to these kind of issues. And the people that are in the ditch in Portland are literally in the ditch, and they have no voice at all. So Portland is a very scattered city when it comes to trying to stop government, and government just runs all over the people in Portland. You know, and you have all these people cheering the kill them all crowd, we call them, who want everybody in jail, wants to throw all the homeless in camps. They hate everybody. And then you have these neoliberals who are trying to extract every penny they can out of you.
Extension of the red line is taking place. There are more bus stop amenities, electric buses.
Yeah.
More
her her bizarre argument, which makes no sense because there's no service, is that somehow, look at all these great things we've done over the years, and now we should raise our fares. Except she doesn't mention the fact that you don't actually have an actual transit system.
Digital tools for customers, the hop card with fare capping, and we've been told fare capping has saved millions of dollars in fares for customers. Newer light rail vehicles. We've got a younger bus fleet.
We'll give them credit on the fare capping. That's a good thing. We'll give them some credit for that. I'd like to get the actual statistics.
Renewable diesel and sustainable electric power. The low-income fare.
See how she's got notes? She's prepared these comments. These are not off the top of her head. They're not like having an open discussion just out of the blue like they're supposed to. They've already written down their arguments for the fare increase.
Has been adopted since our last fare increase. And we retained a very large share of our service, even despite changes during the pandemic. So
we have not. Now that either look at her. She's she's one of my least favorite board members. The two old timers, Simmons and her, the two white women. The two old white women are the worst board members, and they're like the president and the vice president. So, we all know that women are just as mean and shitty as men. You have the case of Marilyn Albright, Hillary Clinton. So the idea that somehow women are better than men in some respects is a complete lie. Just like the whole woke thing is a complete lie.
I think we have a good story to tell the community that you've been paying the same, and in fact with inflation in real dollars for those who who are economy.
Yeah, in LA it's $1.75. In LA it's even more expensive to live than Portland, so shut the fuck up.
Fares have actually gone down because of inflation in real dollars. You're not paying
And if you believe that, I got a bridge to sell you. Come on down.
any more out of pocket, but you've gained a system that has so much more value to you. And I think we have a good story to tell. And I think we can say that a fare increase,
Oy.
for example, of 20 cents, that's a less than 10% fare increase for a really
And it's a 30%. It's 30 cents. It's not 10%, not 20 cents.
world-class transit system. So that's to me a compelling story. And I think
Yeah, it's a compelling propaganda. Will people believe your false propaganda? Probably, because Americans are stupid, basically. They believe anything they're told. We've seen that play out.
justifies some action by us in the near future on fares.
I'm looking for other board member positions, Director Kim.
Thank you.
We already know how we feel.
In this closed universe, narrow, set of three options, the one that
You know what I find interesting about the New World Order? They've chosen to put all these minorities in the positions of power to implement the New World Order, which is brilliant. It's brilliant. Their strategy is brilliant. They have all these minority figures now doing their dirty work. And meanwhile, the ones that are actually pulling the strings are always the same oligarchs. Okay, but they put the people out in front that make them look good, Look, we got Asians, we got blacks. Look at TriMet. We got two black. You got a black general manager and a black head of the union. And things are worse than ever under those two people. Okay.
as I've iterated before, one that I dislike the least is the September 2024 increase, that is the
He's reading his notes. This is not a open discussion. They've made the notes in advance to come here and pitch their bullshit to us.
the most later date, as well as that gives more time for folks to prepare. The way I'm thinking about this is, number one, any increase is good for the agency. We haven't done an increase in.
Any increase is good for the agency. Let's not talk about the poor people that are stuck using your agency that have no representation on your board of directors. Zero. The agency is nothing without the people. But we know how it works. The public supports the technocracy via forced taxation. The government exists to expand itself on your back. We know these things.
In a long while. Two, we cannot demonize any of the three options.
Yes, we can.
We're all
Absolutely.
doing this so that our agencies can move forward. And then I sort of think about the practical aspects of sort of earlier increase, public perception, rush job. Hop system's not even set up. We don't even know how this thing's going to work out within a year.
Yeah, now that's the other thing. Do you remember hearing how the CFO said that they don't know how to change the fares on the hop system? They actually bought a hop card system where they can't change the fare easily. Can you believe that? That's an example of planned obsolescence. How stupid would management be to implement a electronic fare system that cannot easily be changed? But we just heard it out of her mouth. It's going to be a big deal. It's going to cost millions of dollars to figure out how to change the fare on the hop cards, which I find incredibly, it's just incredible to hear them say that.
But for me, at the heart level, the most important thing to me is giving the public more time to socialize with the idea of increase, I guess, planned increase.
And notice how they don't bring up any of the last board meeting where the entire public testimony was against this. They haven't said it once. You see how fixed these things are? Are you seeing that this is all a phony baloney production? The board of directors is only here for Sam Dessou and the technocracy. They are your enemies, okay? They are your enemies.
It would be a planned increase that would also give more time not just to the public, but to different jurisdictions that this is happening.
What different jurisdictions?
Our TriMet's hands are tied.
Different parasites, jurisdictions. Our government is out of control and it's killing us as we speak here. If people don't wake up to this, I won't even make it to my target date is 75 and I'm 69 now.
For the financial sustainability, we had to make an increase.
And you're lying.
But at the very least, what we can do is not going to do a rush job, but also going to give the more time, as much time as we could to the public to prepare for that, so that the essential workers and the transit-dependent riders are least impacted.
So that's just baloney. Those are the people that will be most impacted. So you're lying to us again. What do you mean least impacted? They're the most impacted by this move of you increasing fares. You are hurting the poorest, most vulnerable people in your area. Do you not compute that? Are you dense? Are you stupid? Are you a shill? Who are you, Mr. Kim?
Now, lastly, as I think about, well, will they be least impacted by a smaller amount sooner versus...
Will they, the sheeple, be impacted? Will the sheep? How about those serfs? How will the serfs be impacted?
More amount later. I sort of think of it like a
Fucking shill.
waiting to receive, opting in to receive a Social Security. Like, hey, do you want it sooner or later? And really...
No, Social Security, they're giving you money. You're stealing the money. You're stealing the Social Security raise.
Sooner check positively impacts that particular individual, whereas deferred check, though it may be a larger amount, it's not today. It's way down the road. So when I think about least impact, immediate impact on the essential workers and the transit-dependent riders, I'm thinking farther down the road.
Of course. Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, you're right. Correct. Okay, at least you got that right, Mr. Kim. He is Mr. Kim, right? I didn't get that wrong. I know there's a rail operator named Mr. I hope I'm not messing up the name. But he got that right. He's right. The most dependent people, push it out as far as possible. Absolutely.
Director Lewis, where are you with these proposals?
Well, an increase will impact our riders and no increase will impact our riders. And I think both will impact the staff.
No increase will do nothing to anybody. You keep the system stable. Get rid of Wes, okay? Get rid of that money sucking thing. Get rid of the low ridership lines if you have to. Just get rid of them. Cut the bureaucracy. The other problem I have with this is that there's nothing, the executive staffs and the administrative staff and the management staff pay nothing. They get a raise at the same time that the public gets screwed. Nobody's sacrificing except the public.
As well, I sit in the middle at the 30%, 30 cents, 30%. 30 cents starting, the 30 cents fare.
Okay. And Director Bauman, you were at 20 cents.
I am indeed, yes.
And I'm at 20 cents. You're at 30 cents, Director Kim.
No, I wouldn't characterize it as 30 cents. I'm thinking of more in terms of timeline, right?
But
I'm not for increasing more, let's be sure. I'm for increasing at a later date.
But that is at 30 cents.
Right.
Yes.
But then when you say it like that, on the record, it looks like Director Kim is for more money increase, right?
Well.
So let's say it in a full sentence.
Okay. You
Thank
can
you.
say it in whatever sentence you want. Director Edwards, where are you?
I'm at 50 cents.
No. What? Did he say 50 cents? Did he say 50 cents? You fucking piece of shit. Did he just say 50 cents?
Just kidding.
Oh. See, they think this is a joke. They think it's a joke. They're having a good old time. They're hurting people, and they're laughing about it.
I guess I have a little bit of a concern, and I agree with Director Kim in regards to the time frame. I'd like to have more time to prepare folks. But at the same time, I'm also concerned about, is 20 cents sustainable? Do something happens in the next 3 or 4 years, and then we say, okay, now we got to go to 40 cents, or maybe have to go to 30 cents, or whatever. But it's an increase above what we had already proposed. That's my concern. And so, time-wise, I'm leaning toward the proposal with the 40 cents, because that would put us out to September 24. But I'm certainly amenable to the 30 cents in January of 24.
Okay. Director Way.
Hello?
Hello.
Can we go? I'm sorry, we're going to keep doing this, but can we go back to the scenario slide with the not? Oh, okay. Well, so this one was different from the previous slide that we were viewing with the deficit and the slide 8. Oh, okay. Yes, financial impacts of a fare increase. I'm sorry, I know you're toggling between two different presentations. I do want to ask just a quick clarifying question. So the slide that we'll see, that's from fiscal year 2024 to fiscal year 2023, that currently just says the adult fare increase. Thank you. But what we have before us is both an adult and a youth increase. So I just don't know why the youth piece increase was not included in there.
When you look at so if the increase is a 30-cent increase in the adult fare, the result of that is a 15-cent increase on youth and honored citizen, because by policy, it is 50%.
Okay, so this is encompassing those additional increases.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So I know we're taking a straw poll. I feel like, again, this is just, my feeling is we still have a system that's unsustainable with just relying on passenger fares that are collected to, offset our operational costs. I'm glad that there's some conversations that General Manager DeSue and team are having around exploring partnerships, collaborations, anything that we can do, to make sure that we have something that is more, that is going to be more future-proof, if that makes sense. Because I sort of echo some of the comments made earlier. What if we face another pandemic? What if we face a disaster in our region where we can't collect fares anymore, where we, will continue to have decreasing ridership. So I just think more about those pieces that I think, again, come into play when we think about, the long-term sustainability of our region and how we're going to get those riders back. I truly, truly believe that,
And every transit district across the country is doing this, by the way. They're all using the same narrative to try to convince the serfs to go along with this. And in the Bay Area, they're all calling it a crisis. Transit systems are gonna collapse. This is what's called the Hegelian dialect. Let me look it up for you so you can see. Hegelian dialect. Here it is. Okay. Where is it? Let me sketch you. If I can get a decent chart where you can understand it. I can't really. Okay, these are complicated, but basically, the Hegelian dialect is the There's a problem. Okay. Okay, I can't find one that you're going to understand here. Well, this is the closest you can get it. Okay, here it is. Can you see this here? This is as close as we can get it. All right, let me expand this. There's an agenda, okay? The central authority. Okay, they decide what they want. They create a thesis. So they manufacture. See, like in this case, they manufacture a terrorist threat. In the case of public transportation, they're manufacturing that we're all going to be out of business and all the routes will be canceled. And then they do a proposal. How are we going to do this? In the terrorist situation, they're going to propose police state. Okay, that will stop the terrorists by expanding the police state. But in the case of TriMet, they're going to stop the collapse by taxing you. Okay, so what do? You lose money. So they come up with an agenda. They come up with a reason for this agenda. They come up with a proposal, and they implement it. So it's based on lies. Okay. All right, back to this. I'm trying to explain it. I'm not doing a very good job.
We need to continue to still explore as much subsidized options that we can, given that, we are entering into a new realm where, we are going to have different leaders that are being elected. We all know that. And this is a continued chance to talk about why TriMet is the best system. And I agree with.
And it's not even close. See, here we go with this. It's the best system in the world garbage, which we've been listening to for 20 years, and it's not even close to the best system. But this is the type of propaganda they've been putting out for so long that these directors and the managers actually believe it. They actually think they're like special from everybody else. And it's a lie. It's just not true.
With everybody. I'm so proud of our transit system, having been a product of that system.
It's a completely failed system, and they are not going to acknowledge. This is just like listening to Donald Trump or Joe Biden here. Joe Biden brags about the economy. At the same time, there's people dying in the streets. She's bragging about the great transit system. At the same time, it's not operational. So you're watching government being government here. Okay, you can apply this to any level of government where they set their little agendas and they foist them out into the public, and the mainstream media amplifies their voice so the public hears it and they believe it because the public is morons. Okay, my friend Ron would say it's not their fault, they've been brainwashed. Yes, it's true, but if you can't think critically, you believe this stuff, and most people can't think critically.
As a high school student, way back when, and so
yeah, way back when TriMet was a leader, 80s, early 90s. They had a fantastic system. They ruined it. They deconstructed it, man. And when the neoliberals took control of government, that's when all of the government services fell to pieces, and that's why you're not getting picked up now. That's why your system is crap. It's been deconstructed. Okay, all the money goes to capital projects now instead of service.
I just feel like we're limiting ourselves a bit and just sort of here's just the three things that we have to, sort of put our input into. And I will support one of.
And this whole process is completely illegitimate because there's not one person on that board who's a rioter. The whole complex was set up specifically to keep the public out of it. And you're watching it play out now with these unelected elites appointed by the worst governor in the country who's been shameful in her behavior at every term. And these are her appointees being just as bad as she was. You see what they're doing, though? They're saying the things the executive staff would have to say if it wasn't for them. They are being the executive staff for the public. It's essential that you understand The board is there for the executive staff. They are there to keep the public off of the executive staff. They are the enemies of the writing public.
Today that I feel like, makes the most sense for the agency to go towards, but I just still don't want to, put any conversations off that aren't around exploring other revenue. So I just want to be clear that, this is one tool in our toolbox, but please let's continue to explore other options.
It's not a fucking toolbox. It's an extraction. It's a taxation without representation. So they have all their little cute little words to try to hide what they're doing here. It's disgraceful. I don't know why I watch this stuff.
As a way to, make sure that we have a truly equitable, sustainable system. So with that being said, I know we're just giving some direction to the board. So, again, there'll be community engagement, there'll be future conversations, but this is just what I'm understanding, President Simmons, is just giving some direction so that the staff can take this information and
And the reality of the situation is the other way around. The staff already decided what they want to do. They just need the board to put the rubber stamp on it. Just so you understand what's going on here. This isn't coming from the board. It's coming from the staff.
do something with that. So I would be in favor of the option that gives us more time so that we can see where the ridership is going in the next year or so. And also there was a slide 11 that I'm kind of gravitating towards, which is a September 2024 increase. So that would allow more time to socialize fares, allow more time to negotiate the HOP system changes, again, still to be determined in terms of how that will roll out. And then it will also allow for more of the return so that the burden of a fare increase is not felt primarily by essential riders and transit dependent.
Of course it's going to. Stop saying that. The burden will be felt by them. Stop trying to mirage us with your fucking nonsense. You're hurting them more than anybody else.
Riders. So I'm in favor of anything that we can do to just push out this conversation further and not have an increase, immediate fare increase.
Director Edwards.
Thank you. And I forgot to mention earlier that, and I'd raised this issue prior, about is there an opportunity to phase it in somehow? Can we do 10 cents?
Wait until, if you had your system functioning great, I could see maybe talking about this. But the fact that they're talking about it while you're collapsed like this is such an affront to everything. I mean, what nerve.
Now, 20 cents later, 30 cents later.
That's not the proposal.
Oh, I understand that.
Look at Simmons. That's not the proposal, says that hack Simmons, the new Warner. Fuck you, Simmons.
But I'm saying that it can that be under consideration going forward?
No. What a cunt. Oops. I didn't mean that. Well, actually, I did.
No.
No. I'm the head of the board, and I say no. We can't do it. I'm going to do it this way. I've gotten my marching orders from Sam the man to Sue, the man that knows how to smile and dress and doesn't know much else. And this is what we're going to do. So you do it and shut up.
The staff has developed this on the basis.
There you go. She just proved I told you that. I love it when they prove me. The staff has put this out. The staff has already decided this. See, she just said it.
Of their understanding of where the agency is, and it's not the board to come up with a different proposal.
Whoa! Did you hear that, ladies and gentlemen? She just said the board doesn't do shit. She just said it. Oh my god! I gotta timestamp this because I want to make a separate video on that.
Thank you.
Director Gonzalez, I want to make sure I understand where you are with these three proposals. Okay. So let me summarize what I think I heard. I've heard
Now, it's interesting that they did this in a meeting where there's no public involvement. See, that this is intentional. You have to understand the criminality of all of this is finely tuned, and nobody's paying attention. I'm the only one that's paying attention at the level that that anybody's paying. I'm actually watching every word they're saying. Nobody else is doing this.
Director Gonzalez.
And don't forget, this was it's only broadcast because of the Secretary of State audit in 2012, where that phony audit. The only good thing that came out of it was that they forced TriMet to publicize these meetings. Before that, me and Jason used to put these meetings on the internet. So they for many years, TriMet has operated in complete secrecy.
Director Bauman and me support September 2023. I've heard Director Lewis and Director Kim and Director Edwards supporting January 2024 at 30 cents. And I've heard Director Way supporting September 2024.
Yeah.
Director Kim.
No, to be sure, I've supported the September 2024
Yes.
increase
Oh,
at a later date, along with
Oh, I didn't hear you say that. Oh,
Yes. Good for you.
the whole theme of what I've been talking about here is giving people more time
Good for you.
to adjust here.
All right. So okay. At least he's good there. Okay. I mean, you shouldn't even talk about it all, but you're going to be doing it. Push this out as far as possible.
Right?
oh, I thought it was January
No.
2024 you
No.
were supporting.
No.
Well, that's incorrect. We can look into the minutes.
Give her shit. Give her shit. Somebody needs to slap Simmons down, okay? I'm tired of her arrogance and her fucking brutality. I wish the board would just slap her down where she needs to go down.
It's later too.
Oh, no.
I've been saying
I'm fine.
the same stuff here.
I'm
right?
fine.
So
I'm
it's okay.
fine.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
fine.
it's not okay, Mr. Kim. You give her shit. You tell her, okay? Come on. Stop letting her bully you. And you too, Kathy. You let her bully you over the police shit. I don't know how long ago it was now, but you had a great idea, Kathy, with the police. I don't remember the details, but you had a great proposal, and that goddamn Simmons shot you down just like that. And you didn't protest.
It's not what I heard, but
Yeah, it is what you
And
heard.
I'm not.
Yeah. This is fucking great.
Well, understanding the rationale is to give more people and give us more people more time to adjust as well. But it's really, I'm thinking about the essential workers and the transit-dependent folks
Yes.
to have more time
Yes.
to know, although it's at a higher rate, not 20 cents, but 40 cents, but it's going to come at a later time.
Okay, so
If you're going to force this down people's throats, which you're going to do, obviously, push it out as long as possible. He's right. I'm with him 100%. At least he's reasonable, okay? Unlike Simmons, who's just horrible.
just so I'm managing.
That's good for you, Thomas. You look at that. You, slap her down. You did a good job there. Slap her down.
Your September 2024. Your September 24. No, you're January 24. You are September 2024, and you are. And three of us are September 2023.
Yeah, the two white women, the two old white hags, the two establishment white woman hags are for killing them all. Who's the third? Who's the third kill them all? Is it Edwards?
So, Director.
So we were just over here whispering what we heard. Tell us if we're wrong. What we heard is that we have 100% support for moving forward with a fare increase in September of 2024. All board members would
Yes.
vote in favor of that. You have some board members who would vote to do that sooner, but you don't have a majority.
That's not true.
I
I'm
heard
not
Director
sure I agree
Gonzalez.
with a 40-cent increase.
Okay, well then,
Yeah.
that might be what you need to continue discussing, is if you don't have alignment yet about timing,
Well, we have,
votes for.
we don't need consensus. We have 3 board members, so we need 4 board members to agree to one of the timelines. We have
You need
Director
4
Gonz-
board members to agree to a September 23 at 20 cents, or all board members
look at
to
Thomas
agree
Kim.
to a later date
Look at him
and an
smiling.
amount.
He knows this bullshit. I like this guy. I'm liking him. He sees his bullshit. Look at him.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So I know we have 3 board members who support September 2023. Does anyone else wish to
Yeah, there's
change?
3 kill them all awful board members that should be off the board and their heads stuck in a stock in public square so we can throw rotten potatoes at them. That's Simmons, Bauman. Who's the other one? Who's the other piece of shit?
Their position. Director
I'm
Edwards.
not trying to change my position, but it sounds like we're going to do some ranked voting here.
Yeah.
Same thing that was on the ballot yesterday.
It's not funny. You're talking about people's lives.
I've got a question.
Ozzy. Go ahead, Ozzy.
Go ahead.
Thank you, President Simmons. So seeing where we are right now at this time in the discussion, it feels apropos to bring to the table a question regarding the time versus the time element of this. I know I'm hearing some fellow board members interested in making sure that we created a ample time scenario for making this change. And I wanted to hear from the agency if there's anyone on staff that can speak to this notion that September 2023, regardless of the sense changing, that September 2023 would present a crunch from a timing perspective to be able to do all of the things we would need to do to make a change of this nature. Does that, can someone please let us know if that timeline sounds accelerated and aggressive or presents any risks that we have not, from an implementation standpoint, that we have not had a chance to hear about?
Thank you, Director Gonzalez. So as we discussed earlier, there is some challenges in a September 2023 implementation that specifically, looking at our HOP system, we've got, just the time to make the changes to the HOP system. There is a challenge there. There are some exceptions that we'll need to reach out to our partners, which is C-Tran and Streetcar, for those changes. Now, not impossible, but something that if we had a later date like January of 2024, we wouldn't have to do those negotiations. The time to do public outreach and a Title VI analysis, it's a shorter time. We would like to do the best job at those. And, September of 2023 just shortens the timeline. Is it impossible?
Your Title VI analysis is garbage. It does hurt everybody. It hurts the poor the most. You don't need an analysis. You don't need a master's degree. It's obvious.
Nancy, it's the same timeline regardless of which one we choose, because this board will look at an ordinance in April for either one of these, and we will approve an ordinance for any one of these. So it's the same timeline for Title VI and for the community engagement.
No, it is not. What are you, fucking stupid? If you did a fare increase in January 2024, it's not the same timeline as a fare increase in September 2023. Are you dumb? Yes, the answer is yes.
Back end, not the front end. Front end is the Title VI.
Yeah, okay. So do you want to?
That's the back end. You are correct that the board would vote first reading in April, second reading in May, along with the budget.
Right.
On an ordinance, no matter what you land. However, she is correct that the Title VI analysis and the public outreach would be more, we would have more time to do it under a January 24 or a September 24 timeline.
But we wouldn't have the input for the ordinance review from the Title VI or the community out. We wouldn't have
Look at her. Simmons, are you stupid? What, are you dumb? Are you mentally retarded?
the feedback that the board needs in making the ordinance change.
That's not what I said. What I said was, we will do the outreach and we will do the Title VI under any three of these proposals. It will be abbreviated under the September 2023. We will have to crunch it.
However,
What's wrong with you, Simmons? Is your brain not functioning? Don't you understand? This is your president of your TriMet board. Maybe you should put Biden in there. You know, your brains function the same.
decoupling the ordinance from the Title VI and the community feedback, because it's my understanding that for us as a board to make a decision on an ordinance, we need that, and we're not going to.
Obviously, you don't need that. If you're gonna have a reading and then another reading in a month, that's not going to be enough time to do all that. If you're gonna, okay, I see what she's saying. I get it. I do get it. Okay, she's not insane. She's saying the Title VI analysis has to be done before the second reading. So the second reading should be pushed out from May.
Delay the ordinance on September 24 until September 24.
Correct.
So how would we have any more feedback from the community by doing that? Because, I mean, you still have to have a Title VI and you still have to have community engagement before the ordinance.
Yeah.
Correct. And I guess sorry, I want to go back to Director Gonzalez's question, which was what barriers or challenges would a September 23 implementation cause us?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're confusing what's required versus what's good,
Okay.
right? So staff are telling you, technically, we can meet our legal requirement in time to give you all a legally accepted document by April. That does include Title VI.
Well,
is that the best practice or a good practice to socialize a region on a fare increase? And I think staff are
to propagandize a region, that's what he's talking about. He's right. They're right. Okay.
telling you more time is better.
Yeah.
Okay.
The most time is best.
Yes.
So required versus good is the question.
Yes.
Can we do it? It's an amazing team at TriMet. Yes.
It's an amazing team at TriMet, Rippy! Sorry, I can't help myself.
Is it the best way? That's the way we need your direction.
I'm still not hearing the answer to my question, though, which is, it's my understanding that this board would expect, regardless of the proposals,
What she wants, okay, what she wants is all the public feedback to be done in 30 days and the title. So they're going to read the ordinance in April, okay? So she wants 1 month of, they just did 1 month of public feedback for their Better Bus lying piece of shit. Okay, I see what she's saying, okay? She's not completely insane, okay? I take it back. She's saying that when they do the first reading, by the second reading, they have to have all the public feedback and the Title VI analysis in 30 days. Well, that's totalitarianism at its best. And of course they could do it, and they probably will do it. I mean, they don't care. They don't give a shit what happens to people.
community engagement and a Title VI by April
Right. That's what she's saying.
Correct.
I get it.
Yes.
for any of these. So it doesn't give more
Why
time.
don't you have your second reading next September? Why does your second reading have to be 30 days from the first reading? Where's the discussion on that?
Time.
I think this gets back to what Director Edwards said earlier. How much time will it take TriMet and our partners to educate and socialize a fare change for the region?
Well,
To
that's
propagandize and manufacture consent.
And how much
That's
time
very
will it take?
different. That's very different. I'm talking about
Oh my
the
God.
community engagement and the Title VI review, regardless of the proposals, would need to be done by April of
You
Right.
don't need a Title VI review. It's going to hurt everybody, but it will hurt the poorest people the most. You don't need a review. That's just obvious, okay? The poorer you are, the more this hurts. What is so complicated? Why do you need a bureaucracy to tell you this?
Sure.
Right. The board cannot vote unless we give you that product.
Thank you. That's
So push out the second reading. Instead of a second reading in May, make it in fucking August. Where's that discussion?
the point I'm trying to make. So yes, there's more time to socialize the community for it. But there's
And more time to do the technical operations with our e-fare system and our contracts.
Sure, sure.
Okay.
I can't believe they have an e-fare system they can't easily make an adjustment to. That's unbelievable, folks. That's unbelievable.
I get that. I just want to make sure we're talking apples to apples and my understanding is correct and that the board individually or collectively don't believe that we would have more time for community engagement, because we would not. If we chose September 2024, we would make that decision in April. We would.
Why don't you push out the second reading? Why does the second reading have to be in 30 days? Why aren't you bringing this up, Sam? You're supposed to be the fucking general manager. Just tell them, do the second reading some other time.
Consider a second vote in May, and we would be done with it.
Push it ahead.
It would go into effect in September of 2024. I mean, it's not something that a future board would undo. It would be
How do you
something
know?
that this board put into place. Okay?
Well, it won't. Yeah, because the boards are puppet boards is why they won't undo it.
Director Bauman and then Director Edwards.
So this accelerated process to have an ordinance ready in April would be required if a fare increase takes place during the upcoming fiscal year, right? But if fare increase is in a future fiscal year, we don't have to have an ordinance
No,
with the fare increase by April.
that's not true. This board is looking at making a fare increase. So that means this
You are such a fucking...
board needs to act on an ordinance
Before the term of the
Right.
two board members who are going to be termed out.
That's correct.
So this is all coming to us now late, unfortunately. I guess we didn't realize until today that there was going to be time pressure for the board as currently constituted to adopt a fare increase.
Just push the second reading out. Why is nobody mentioning it? Why does the second reading have to be in 30 days? Why can't it be in 90 days? Why can't it be in 120 days?
Director Edwards.
May I speak?
Yeah, Director Gonzalez.
Thank you. I really appreciate us diving into this question a little bit. What I'm understanding from it is that as proposed currently, we're looking at making a decision within the same timeline, regardless of what that decision is, where the option lies is not in the timeline for making the decision, it's in the timeline for making that decision go into effect.
Correct.
And if I understand correctly,
So I see what's happened here. DeSue has told Simmons, we need a fare increase and we need to do this ordinance now. Okay, we don't want to wait. We want to do it as fast as possible.
what we're looking at here are three different scenarios where we're giving each of them the same amount of time to go through the ordinance process, the decision process, the public hearing process, so that our decision is made at a future board meeting. And it sounds to me like we're looking at that this coming budget cycle to make the decision, regardless of which one.
Yeah, they're doing very badly here. So they want to give everybody 30 days. They want to rush this thing through. They don't want the public to have any time to react to this. This is completely unethical, folks.
That's correct.
So what I want to bring and highlight for the sake of the board is that the time window that we're giving ourselves by going out to September 2024 is essentially a larger window for the agency to work out the implementation side of this, and for the public to work through the adjusting their life to absorbing this change, which will give us more time to give the public to be able to reflect on the decision we made, which is already baked into a future date. So That's one thing I wanted to articulate for the sake of the board. I'm not so sure that I'm not seeing a major upside here to making the decision at the same time, but pushing out the implementation or when that decision goes into effect. What I do see is a larger jump that needs to be made because we're pushing out the implementation. And what I'm also seeing is that the incremental, based on the proposals, the incremental changes to the fare are, at this time, we're saying we're willing to take larger incremental increases once that first one goes into effect. So in more basic terms, I think where the September 2024 40-cent decision lands us is that we're saying we're okay with making this decision now, so long as the implementation goes out later, and so long as the incremental increases, we're okay to accept larger incremental increases for the sake of waiting longer to implement the first one. And it sounds, and I'm just reflecting that because it's what I think we would be doing if we go ahead and move it to 2024. I'm debating right now whether I'd be willing to support that 40-cent increase in 2024. I'm just trying to figure out whether we're just setting ourselves up for a longer lead time for the public to accept it, and if we're setting ourselves up for larger incremental increases over time because of the way this proposal.
Yeah, they're very neoliberal. They're destroying their own transit system, is what they're doing, folks. They're destroying their own. They've done everything to destroy the system, and they're continuing down the same road that they've been on for a while. They're doing everything wrong. They're doing everything backwards, and that's what they're still doing.
Well, and the thing that the September 2024 is problematic for me is because where the cliff is in 2027, and it puts
the cliff. It was 2029, you dumbass.
us closer, I just think delaying more and gives more time that we haven't had a fare increase, and I think it preconditions the community to think that we can do anything we want without the resources that we need to have.
All this entire discussion is based on a lie, and she's just a hack. Okay, so you're trying to pretend that somehow this is going to make a difference in your system. It's not. It's not. This is a completely fraudulent discussion.
So I can't support a
2024. Oh, you're outvoted. Get lost, you piece of shit.
24 September.
Get lost.
Come
on board. Tell her to get lost.
January, because that's within the same fiscal year.
Tell her to get lost. Vote her down. Get her out of there. Vote her out.
Not January, September. I mean, it was the No, put the dates up
it's
there.
It's not
again.
the same fiscal year.
We are right now in the 23 fiscal year.
Yeah.
And the 24 fiscal year would be the January 24 increase.
And the September 23 increase.
No.
Yes.
Same fiscal year.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, because our fiscal year starts in July.
Right.
So would you please put up the options so I can get the dates right in my mind?
I wish they would just vote her down. Just vote her off.
Okay, so it's the January 2024 that I could live with because it's within the same fiscal year as September 2023.
Yeah, that's what they went with.
We would be in the 25 fiscal year for September 24. And I can't, with looking at where we are and where the cliff is.
There's no cliff.
I can't go.
There's no cliff. Every transit agency has said the same thing. I've read it from around the country. They're using the same argument in every place. They're lying, folks. Bring back George Carlin. Is he still here? I have certain rules I live by. Don't believe in anything in there, and TriMet is just the government.
Into a fiscal year 25. I just can't.
Yes, you can.
And I can't in my
well, too bad. Fuck you.
Responsibility.
Too fucking bad. Who the fuck is you?
I just want to point out that simple movement from September of 2023 into January of 2024 removes a lot of the negotiation that we're going to have to do with our partners. Not impossible to do it, okay, but it removes it because we have at least a year to provide them the required notice by contract. Okay, it does give just, a little bit more time for the socialization piece and bringing our public, just giving them a little bit more time.
Your public hates your guts, man, okay? That's why you didn't get your tax increase, because there's not a tax increase that the people in that area ever refuse. Anytime you want taxes, they give them to you over there in Portland.
Now we'll go back to Director Edwards, followed by Director Kim, followed by Director Way.
Thank you. I think there's a little bit of confusion as well, and you were trying to clarify it earlier, that whatever date you choose, that amount of fare increase goes along with it. I can't choose September 24 and say that I want 20 cents.
No.
Yeah, I just want to make that clear because
You can do that, but they're not going to let you do that.
I think there's some folks that are hung up on it.
That's not the proposal that the staff is saying.
Right.
See? See, the staff already mapped this out for them. They're not discussing anything. The staff said, here, we want this, now discuss it. And Simmons is giving it to them.
And some people are hung up on the date.
No, that's not.
But they don't want to carry the money with the date. And I think there's no choice in that. Either
That's correct.
You choose the date and the money goes with it.
That's correct. No.
That's good.
Oh my gosh, it has to be incrementally.
Come on, open mic. Come on, I want to hear open mic. This is funny.
May I?
Excuse me, Director Kim.
Thank you. This is point of order. To be sure, all of us, any of us can vote. However, we choose, including abstaining from voting. I just wanted to say that to ensure that there's no gun tied to our heads and would choose this or you can't. So we can feel free to express our comments, thoughts, potential ideas of carrying 20 cents over and so forth. But to be the most productive, however, one of these three options would be the most productive, which would be a win for the agency as we increase fare and therefore financial stability. We've had a very productive presentations and informative presentations and productive discussion, and I understood from the beginning opening remarks that the goal here today was to do a straw vote. Informal vote, and I think we've all spoke our pieces. So, question to you, President Simmons, is what's next in terms of the goal of this retreat, this board retreat, right? Because I keep on hearing you specifically mentioned earlier, hey, would any of the other board members willing to switch sides here? And we're not making a formal vote, but rather this productive discussion, and I'm enjoying it as well. So that was the question to you. Thank you.
Well, it's a straw vote, but the agency wants at least 4 board members to agree to one of the dates and one of the amounts, because that becomes consensus of even of a straw vote. And so that's what I'm looking for, is can we find I need 4 board members.
No, don't give it to her.
Minimum, to agree to one of the dates.
And I believe we have come to consensus. At the very least, September 2024 option, we know that at the very least, we would like to support that. Some board members would like to support sooner implementation.
Well, I've only heard 3 board members want September 2024. Okay.
So the way I'm understanding this is, as for those board members who are for earlier implementation for fare increase, by default, earlier implementation, the later dates come after that such earlier date. So September 2024 comes after 2023. So as for those folks, are we all at the very least agreeing to a later increase, in addition to some folks
I would
agreeing-
propose an in-between one, which is January 2024.
Don't give it to him.
Point of order.
Yes. Director Gonzalez.
Thank you, President Simmons. Unless I'm misunderstanding, is the intent of the agency following this session today to come forward with a single proposal
Yes.
at a future board meeting for us to vote on?
Yes, and we need one single proposal to start the Title VI and the community input.
Understood. Well, thank you. Yeah, I think that, for this discussion today, I think it's worth just bringing out loud, that we're really looking at the timing of this. Clearly, it's not, I'm not hearing us discussing the concept of the need for fiscal solvency. It's really about the timeline and what is the most responsible way to go about this. And if I understand correctly, the agency is able to deliver on either one of these proposals from a compliance standpoint on the timeline. A little more time allows us the benefit of course, less rushing per se, but it will allow us to have that much more of a resolute process of public engagement as well as interagency coordination. So that's where I see an upside to providing a little bit more time.
Right.
I don't foresee the public loving any of these, regardless of whether it's in 1 year or in 2 years or in 3 years. So I want to put that out, and that's why I see less of a jump sooner, but frankly more advantageous than a bigger jump later, because the public will feel the bigger jump more.
Yes. So I'm going to ask for the vote again of where people are. Director Lewis.
30 cents and at January 2024.
Director Bauman.
I'll say preliminarily that this logistics issue about having to give our partners a year's notice is very persuasive to me. So that puts me at January 2024 at 30 cents, which is still less than a 15% increase.
And I vote for January 2024.
Director Kim, I vote for September 2024 with 40 cents. That gives the most time for the essential workers and transit-dependent folks to prepare accordingly.
The one pro-human vote, the one guy who's actually thinking of people.
January 24.
I'll also be September 2024.
Ozzy.
I believe striking the balance of January 2024 at 30 cents is a preferable option.
Okay. So staff, that's the direction that the board gives to you.
All right. Well, there you have it, folks. That was very long, and but that was kind of entertaining if you can get through it. I know it's a long thing to get through. I enjoyed it. Over and out.